When archaeologists excavated the original Olympic training grounds at Olympia in the late 19th century, they expected to find evidence of specialized equipment, elaborate facilities, complex systems. What they found instead stopped them cold. Stone weights, a sandpit, open ground. That was it. That was the entire training setup for the athletes who built the physiques that inspired 2,500 years of sculpture. Bodies so developed that modern researchers assumed the proportions had been exaggerated for artistic effect. They hadn't been. So the question that should be sitting in your head right now is this: what were these athletes actually doing? Because whatever it was, it worked better than almost anything available today, and it required almost nothing to do it. The answer comes down to 3 specific movements, and by the end of this video, one of them is going to change the way you think about training completely. Greek coaches operated on a principle that modern fitness forgot somewhere between the invention of the cable machine and the leg press. The body builds itself fastest when it's forced to produce force in the way it was designed to. Not isolated, not segmented, not stabilized by a padded seat. Whole, connected, under real load. Here's what that looked like in practice. Most people have never heard of Halteres, but every time someone picks up a dumbbell, they are holding a direct descendant of this Greek invention. Halteres were elongated stone or lead weights. Some have survived and are on display in Athens, used by Greek athletes as far back as 700 BC. The original purpose was for the long jump. Athletes swung them forward during takeoff to extend their distance. Coaches started noticing that the athletes who trained with halteres regularly were developing something that couldn't be explained by jump mechanics alone. Their hips were more powerful, their cores were more stable. They were winning in events that had nothing to do with jumping. This movement takes the core principle behind halteres training, a loaded, explosive, hip-driven swing, and applies it to equipment available today. Hold a kettlebell or dumbbell with both hands. Hinge at the hips and let the weight swing back between the legs. Then drive the hips forward, not the arms, not the shoulders, and let that hip drive send the weight rising to chest height. That is the rep. What's happening underneath is the reason Greek coaches built entire training programs around this kind of movement. The hip drive recruits the posterior chain, glutes, hamstrings, lower back, in one coordinated explosion. This is the same system that generates power in a sprint, a jump, a throw, or a heavy carry. Training it this way, under a moving load, with the timing demand of the swing, develops a different quality than any static exercise can produce. At the same time, the core is not crunching or rotating. It is resisting. As the weight swings, the spine wants to round forward and collapse. The abs and obliques fire to prevent that from happening. And that resistance is the most functional form of core strength there is. It's the kind that actually protects the spine when something heavy and unpredictable needs to be moved. And because the largest muscle groups in the body are working explosively, the cardiovascular demand arrives quickly. After a few sets, the lungs make their presence known. Greek coaches understood that strength and endurance were not two goals. They were the same goal, trained from 2 angles. This movement covers both simultaneously, 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps. Focus entirely on the hips, the arms guide, they do not lift. This is the same principle the No Gym Warrior program is built on. Movements that produce more with less. The full 12-week system is in the description. Here is something that gets left out of most discussions of Greek athletic history. Pankratioin, the all-in combat sport at the ancient Olympics, had almost no rules. Striking was legal, takedowns were legal, ground fighting was legal. The only restrictions were eye gouging and biting. Everything else was fair. This meant Pankratioin athletes had to be strong everywhere, not just in the positions modern training tends to favor, but from the floor, in compromised angles, under sustained fatigue. The question Greek coaches faced was, how do you train a body that needs to produce force from any position, at any moment, under any condition? Taking that demand and reducing it to its core mechanics produces this movement. Start standing. Place both hands on the floor. Shoot the feet back into a push-up position. Perform one controlled push-up, chest to the floor. Then drive the feet forward and stand back up explosively. This looks a lot like a burpee, and it almost is, but most people think of the burpee as a boring exercise because they don't understand why it can be important to be good at it. The Pankratioin ground press demands deliberate, controlled descent followed by maximum explosive power on the ascent. The goal is precision going down and violence coming up. This contrast trains something almost no other exercise develops: the ability to generate force from a dead stop, from the ground, in a fully exposed position. Think about what that actually means. Most strength is trained from a standing position in a controlled environment with a predictable load. The body becomes strong in those conditions and fragile in every other condition. This movement eliminates that fragility. It forces the body to produce power from the worst possible position, because Greek wrestlers could not choose their position. The push-up in the middle is not a rest. Greek wrestlers were renowned for their upper body endurance, specifically because their training placed pressing demands on an already fatigued system. The chest, shoulders, and triceps here are working under accumulated fatigue, not fresh. That is a different kind of strength, and a more honest one. For conditioning, 3 rounds of 10 to 12 reps, 60 seconds of rest. For a harder variation, slow the descent to 3 seconds, pause at the bottom, then drive up as explosively as possible. That pause will expose every weakness in the chain almost immediately. If something is going to fail, it will fail there. Here is the part that you're probably not expecting. Greek hoplite soldiers carried 20 to 30 kilograms of bronze into battle. A full panoply, helmet, breastplate, leg guards, and the heavy aspis shield weighed as much as a small child. These soldiers did not wear this equipment ceremonially. They ran in it, held phalanx formations for extended periods, and they fought sustained engagements in it, sometimes for hours. The physical output required to do this was extraordinary, and because Greek military training was inseparable from athletic training, coaches developed a way to build exactly this capacity. Pick up a heavy kettlebell or dumbbell in each hand, press one weight overhead and lock the arm out completely. Hold the second weight at the side and walk. Now here is the part that surprises people who try this for the first time. The overhead arm is not resting. Within 20 steps, the shoulder, rotator cuff and upper back are burning under the static load. Holding a loaded limb vertical and stable is one of the most demanding things a shoulder can be asked to do. And it reveals weakness faster than any pressing variation, because there is nowhere to hide. The weight is either stable or it isn't. At the same time, the weight held at the side is creating a lateral pull on the torso with every single step. The obliques and deep spinal stabilizers are working constantly to prevent the body from tilting. Every step is a resistance challenge. There are no rest points built into the movement. The legs and hips are managing all of this while simply walking in a straight line. This is where the carry becomes diagnostic. A shoulder with limited stability will start to shake within seconds. A weak lateral core will show itself as a tilt toward the hanging weight. Tight hips create a visible lurch with every step. The carry finds the problems and forces the body to address them simultaneously, under load, in real time. The conditioning effect compounds this. Multiple muscle groups are under constant tension for the entire set. The heart rate climbs steadily and stays there. The body adapts or it slows down. There is no coasting. Beginners, 20 to 30 meters per arm, switching sides, 45 seconds of rest between rounds. For strength, increase the load and reduce the distance. For conditioning, keep the load moderate and push the distance, 3 to 4 rounds with minimal rest between them. These 3 movements together address every quality a complete training program needs to develop. Hip power, posterior chain development, explosive conditioning, upper body strength endurance, core stability under dynamic and static load, grip endurance, and cardiovascular output. Greek coaches didn't divide training into strength days and cardio days. They didn't separate the body into muscle groups and schedule them across a week. They trained complete physical capacity because their athletes needed complete physical capacity in competition, in battle, and in daily life. The physiques carved into marble at Olympia weren't the result of more time, more equipment, or more complexity. They were the result of better principles applied consistently with almost nothing. The No Gym Warrior program is built on exactly that foundation. 12 weeks, no gym required, link in the description.